Facilities that make this program possible are provided by the City of Highland Park. Programs are produced independently by members of the community. The City of Highland Park is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of the City of Highland Park.
Hello, I'm Joyce of the Highland Park Senior Producers. Today we have a phenomenal guest, a brilliant man, and if I had to tell you all his accomplishments, it would take me the whole half hour, so I'll have Mr. Ralph Bernstein, no relation, to tell you about them.
Hi, Joyce. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so glad you could come.
Thank you for inviting me,
You're welcome.
I feel very privileged.
Oh, good.
I am retired. I practiced law for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
My education is, I went to St. Louis University in St. Louis,
mm-hmm.
and I majored in accounting, although I never got the CPA exam. I sat for the CPA exam, so I never was a CPA, but I did practice accounting for some time. Subsequently, I went into the Army during the Korean War. I was in the Army for 2 years, honorably discharged. And then I entered law school. I went to DePaul University.
Oh, I went there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a math major.
Okay, and I was a law major, and I went to law school there, and I finished law school there, and I was very happily appointed to the DePaul Law Review, and I was wrote for the DePaul Law Review during the time I was in the law school. Mm-hmm. Subsequent to law school, I started to practice law. And in the early 60s, I went to John Marshall for a tax law program, for a master's program. Although I never got a master's, but I sat for all the courses and audited all the courses.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I didn't get a master's is because I never took the exams. I didn't want to spend the time to study for the exams, but I did. And then I was practicing law, general practice of law. However, in the early 70s, I switched from general practice, basically, and I did estate planning, tax planning. I did probate litigation, wills, trust, elder law, and I did a lot of commercial litigation. Mm-hmm. And I also did a lot of appellate work. Mm-hmm. And that was basically the extent of my practice. I was a sole practitioner for some time, and then my son graduated DePaul University. Also became a lawyer, and for a period of time until my retirement, my son practiced law with me. So that's basically me.
Mm-hmm. You specialize mainly in real estate?
I did a lot of real estate work also.
I read that about you.
Yeah, I did a lot of real estate. Mm-hmm. I did every type of real estate transaction you could think of.
Yeah.
Anyway, however, based upon our conversation, you asked me what subject I'd like to talk about, and I'd like to talk about the estate taxes.
Oh.
Generally, you walk down the street and you ask John Doe citizen, what do you think about estate taxes? Or ask a crowd of people, a meeting, do you think estate taxes should be abolished like there is current talk in the Congress to abolish the estate taxes? And
do they know anything about it, the people you ask?
They basically think that they're going to pay taxes upon their death. And the funny part of it is that about 98% of the population of this country never pays estate taxes when they die for their assets. Maybe 2% do.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And the reason is that the estate taxes are set up in this country that when a person dies, the estate taxes are not paid or you don't compute it in the estate taxes. They're not susceptible to estate taxes unless they have approximately more than $5.5 million of assets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you're married, it's close to 11 million.
Oh, my goodness.
So therefore, most people will not pay estate taxes. Now, I've done a lot of estate tax returns in my career, but most of the people that I've handled estates for did not have to pay estate taxes. Estate taxes are federal taxes, not state. Estate, E-S-T-A-T-E.
Oh,
Okay, got it?
estate.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
now, let's talk about what is being proposed by the government currently, by the president in his one-page outline as to for taxation, and I'll talk about a little bit about that too. One of the things that the president has proposed with regard to the tax code and the repeal of some of the provisions of the tax code and asserting his ideas is to abolish estate taxes. Now, if estate taxes are currently abolished without any other kind of fixing to estate taxes, just all they say is estate tax law is abolished, basically, and that's what the Congress passes. What is not being told to the public is there is a substitute tax going to be almost levied automatically.
oh,
I will explain.
okay.
Under
Very good.
current law, when someone inherits assets from a decedent, the tax basis for purposes of taxation of the inherited asset is the fair market value at the time of the inheritance, at time of death. Got it?
Yes.
So, let's say Mom owns a house that she purchased 30 years ago for $30,000. And let's say hypothetically that there were no additions to the house. So, at her death currently, if the house is worth $500,000,
Yes.
and you, Joyce, are the recipient of the inheritance, your tax basis for the purposes of determining taxes, if you sell the house, is $500,000.
Oh,
So, because the fair market value at the time of death of Mom's house was $500,000.
yeah.
So if you sold the house immediately for $500,000, you would have no tax.
Really?
No gain or loss.
Oh,
Because you sell it for $500,000, your basis is $500,000,
Oh.
500 less 500 is zero, so you have no taxable.
okay. Even though there was so much profit, it doesn't matter, correct?
It's called a step up in basis.
Oh,
Got it?
yes.
You
This
get a
is very
step up.
interesting
Yeah.
because most of us don't know
Yeah,
about it.
so that's so now if they repeal the estate tax law and there's no fix to the step up in basis, what happens is if you would inherit that $30,000 home now and sell it $500,000 and your basis is what Mom's basis was, $30,000, there's a $470,000 gain.
Gain, correct.
And that's not being told to the American public.
Oh,
All it's being told is the nasty estate tax that is currently on the books. People will have to pay estate taxes. Only if there's 11 million if they're married and 550,000 if they're not married. Got it?
yes, yes.
Now,
How was this decided? The government, correct?
well, I'm just saying it's not being told. So that's
Oh.
that's a substitute tax, the capital gains.
Oh,
Got it?
instead, yeah.
Now, what's also being told to the government, to the people, is the corporate taxes are being reduced from 35% down to 15%. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that currently the corporations are paying at the top rate 35% of their profits. And then if they change the tax rate, it'll be 15%
Oh.
or 25%. I don't recall
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a significant change. So what's going to happen essentially? You have all of these high bracket taxpayers, the hedge fund people, the Wall Streeters, the very high paid executives. They may incorporate because the highest rate that is being suggested under the Trump tax change is 35%. So if they incorporate, their taxes automatically will be down to 15%. There is some tax traps. There are some tax traps there, and I don't want to go into it because it's a long explanation. They call them personal holding companies, but other things being equal, they could lower their rate from 35 to 15% if they incorporate themselves.
Oh.
Understand? Okay. There's another situation that that people have been talking about in Washington, is with regard to Medicare going bankrupt.
Oh.
Or Social Security going bankrupt.
Yeah, I've heard that
Let's
for
talk about
years.
Social Security. Essentially, what's happening in Social Security is that they're saying that the Social Security trust fund is going to go out of business, so they will exhaust the trust fund somewhere in the year 2030 or so.
Oh.
That's an easy fix, a very easy fix.
How would
What is
that
the
be?
easy fix? The easy fix is, first of all, number one, the current cap on Social Security is if you earned income, not dividends, not interest, earned income up to about $120 some odd thousand, there's a Social Security tax. It's paid by the individual and by the company you work for.
Doesn't that depend on your age?
No, it has
No,
nothing
it
to do.
doesn't.
Nothing to
Oh,
do with your
okay.
age. It's about 7.5% on the individual and 7.5% by the company. If you're self-employed, it's 1.5 times the 7.5% you pay as a self-employed individual. So what do you do in that situation? Number one, you could raise the cap.
Oh.
And if you raise the cap, you don't have to have it at 7.5%. You could lower it to 3% or something like that. And that would ingest billions of dollars into the trust fund.
Really?
That's number one. Number two, what can be done is that currently there is a certain type of corporation that small businesses can elect to have under the tax law. It's called a Subchapter S corporation. In a Subchapter S corporation, when a corporation earns a profit, got it? The corporation pays no tax.
Oh.
The profits are then distributed or allocated to the shareholders in the proportion they own in the company.
Oh.
So, for example, if you and I form a Subchapter S corporation, and we're both 50% shareholders, and the corporation earns $100,000 after salaries, let's say.
Oh.
We each get $50,000 worth of income, whether it's distributed or not, because we own 50% of the corporation. Follow?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens currently is that if a corporation earns, let's say, $400,000 before salaries, what they're doing now is taking $50,000 worth of salary each, the two shareholders. That leaves $300,000 left, and they're distributing the other $300,000, $150,000 to each shareholder, and there's no Social Security that's paid on that $300,000.
Oh.
So they obviate the necessity of paying the 7.5% as an individual and through the corporation in the form of salaries. So if they eliminate that idea, in other words, tax the distributions from Subchapter S, even leaving the cap at the same rate, they're going to have billions of dollars come in to the Social Security
Oh, my.
fund.
Uh-huh.
You see? So that could be a savings feature to Social
Boy,
Security.
you really know your stuff.
Follow what
don't
I'm
you?
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, lastly, they talk about what the problem of Obamacare.
Oh,
Obamacare has one significant problem that, as I see it, and that's the health care situation.
mm-hmm.
What they're saying is that the reason for the rise in premiums
Mm-hmm.
is because the healthy people are not buying into Obamacare.
Oh, I see.
Got it?
Oh,
Why then? What happens if they don't buy into Obamacare and they don't have the insurance? Under Obamacare, currently, there's a tax that they pay of $750,
mm-hmm.
period, for the year.
Oh,
And they're not insured, but they pay $750. These people are, these are the real healthy people.
mm-hmm.
And the real healthy people are needed in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Because according to insurance, if you spread the pool among the whole electorate, the ones that don't make claims will pay a portion of the people who make the claims.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the idea of insurance.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Take fire insurance, for example. Every householder has fire insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person who lives in a cement house, all cement, fireproof, and so on, says, I don't need fire insurance, I'll never have a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get insured, and all those people are out of the pool, it'll raise the premium because those people don't take money in claims. Same idea in the Obamacare. If you take the healthy people out of the pool and leave only the unhealthy type people or the people that are
Too
susceptible to
costly.
claim,
It's costly.
it costs more.
Mm-hmm.
What they do, a very easy fix to that.
What's that? How does that?
Instead of $750,
Mm-hmm.
let them pay $3,750.
Oh.
$3,750
Oh,
if
that's-
they don't get insurance.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then they would think, well, rather than pay $3,750, I might as well take out insurance.
Yeah,
Cost me the same thing.
yeah.
So they will be in the pool.
True, true.
Got it?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a very simple fix. And I don't know about the people in Washington. Maybe they don't understand that.
Probably.
But they have the idea that it's Obamacare. I just was talking today at lunch with some of my fellow friends and so forth, and what I vision that the new Trump quote care insurance will be a knockoff of Obamacare.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. Trump just wants his name on it, I think.
Well, I don't know if he wants
Well,
his
no,
name or
I
not.
can't
All right.
say that.
Now,
I don't.
let's talk about another idea with regard to the first subject about estates and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Wills. Why does one have to have a will or one doesn't have to have a will?
Yeah.
Well, there's a number of things that one should think about. Okay? If you die and you have any kind of assets
Mm-hmm.
and you die without a will, the state has a will for you. I'm saying will in quotes. And that's called intestate, I-N-T-E-S-T-A-T-E.
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
So if you die and you have heirs, your closest
Okay.
heirs will get your assets according to the way the state says the laws of intestacy.
Even without a will?
Yes, without a will.
I thought it just all goes to the state.
No,
Oh.
it only goes to the state if you have no heirs whatsoever.
Oh. Well, what is considered an heir? A
Any
child?
child, a cousin, an aunt, an
Oh,
uncle.
even that far?
Yeah.
Oh,
But they go down. First are children and spouses, and then
Uh-huh.
children, and then you got brothers and sisters, and if you have no brothers and
Oh.
sisters, it goes up to aunts and uncles, and grandfathers and grandmothers, and so forth. Got it? Okay.
yeah. What about IRAs? I heard that's different.
Well, an IRA is an altogether different idea.
thing. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So now a will. What does a will do? First of all, a will in Illinois has to be in writing,
Mm-hmm.
signed by the person who is is making the will in front of two witnesses.
Oh,
It says generally you think 3 witnesses, people think 3, but in Illinois it's only 2. And it's signed by the person who is executing the will in front of the 2 witnesses, and the 2 witnesses sign in front of the
could they be anyone not relative?
not related to
Oh,
the
not
to the
related,
person
okay.
who's signing the will. And the reason is if they're related and they are mentioned in the will, whatever they get, they lose.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because the witness is more important.
Oh,
Okay? Okay?
uh-huh.
Now, what do you think about in a will? There's a number of things. Think about who the executor is, who will administer your estate. Number 2, you have children. How do they get the money?
Oh, that's
or the
always a
assets,
problem.
and
it
so
seems.
forth. Yeah.
Baggage.
Well, and there's another thing. If you have $100,000 or less of assets,
Oh,
you can transfer those assets without going to probate on
Oh,
those
really?
assets.
oh,
It's called a small estate affidavit.
oh.
So I've heard a lot of people saying, well, the lawyer said I had to open an estate for this,
Oh,
and it's not true.
oh. How do you
If the
store all
asset is
this
worth
knowledge?
if the asset is not real estate now,
No,
real estate is
no.
a different situation.
Yeah, oh,
If the assets are stocks, bonds,
Oh. Currency of some sort.
currency, and the like,
Uh-huh.
cash in the bank, CDs and
see.
so forth, and you own it in your name, and those assets amount to less than $100,000, not real estate now,
No.
you don't need to probate the estate, even if you have a will.
Oh,
You can transfer it with a small estate affidavit. Okay? Real estate is another question. If a person dies owning real estate, it necessarily does not have to go through probate,
how's
If
that?
because you have to ask the person who is going to own the real estate as a result of the death of the decedent,
The inheritor?
what do they want to do with the real estate?
Oh, I see.
Do they want to keep it? Do they want to sell it? Or so? Now, if you want to keep it, there's no reason to go through probate.
Oh,
You don't
correct.
have to.
Do you have to
Because
keep it?
automatically, on the laws of Illinois, when a person owns real estate, and let's say you are the successor by way of will to the real estate,
Right.
you're vested as an owner of that property.
Oh,
Okay?
what if you sell it in a year or two? Is there a limit?
No. If you sell it within a year, then it's a different story.
Oh, oh,
Then there's 2 things you can do. One is you could open an estate
oh.
and sell it through the estate. Or number 2, you can go to a title company such as Chicago Title
Oh, right.
and put up a bond in lieu of a bond in lieu of the estate.
Oh, oh,
The bond is generally 2 times the value. So sometimes the bond premium could be more than what would be charged to administer an estate. And by administering an estate, you're doing a number of other things. You're cutting off creditors and so forth. So that's what
Oh,
happens
yeah.
in those situations. And then another thing, what you do with regard to a will, if you have minor children, you have the ability to name a guardian,
oh,
okay? You have the ability to hold back assets that would go to the children.
oh,
Let's say you have a $500,000 insurance policy, and the children are the beneficiaries.
oh,
If you die, and you have 2 children, and they're both minors, if you die when they're minors, the children will get $250,000 each at the time they're 18.
oh, oh.
Do you want
18.
that? Some people say yes. Most people say no. They don't
Oh.
know how children can't handle that. They'll go to Las Vegas and bet on black
Oh,
or bet on red.
oh.
You understand what I'm saying? So these are options that can be done if you have prior planning.
Boy, a person has to go to school to learn all this.
I did.
I know you know everything
No,
about it.
Well, I'm trying to give it to you in capsule form
Right,
in this
right, right.
situation. Another thing with regard to a will, what you can do is, let's say you have close relatives and you're giving it to your children.
Oh.
They're both adults. You have 2 children, they're both adults. But you want to give some money to a charity.
Right.
But if you die without a will, charity will get nothing.
Oh.
Let's say you want to give money to your Aunt Nellie, or give some asset to your Aunt Nellie. If you don't have a will,
Really?
Aunt Nellie can't get that
So
asset.
does the state get it then?
No, your children will get it.
Oh, your children. I see.
Yeah. Now there's one
they
big,
have to wait till
big
they're
problem
adults.
you have to lose, and it's a trap.
Oh.
If you give an asset to a child before you die, and it depends upon what the value of the asset is,
Right.
you could have a gift tax problem. But the
Oh.
gift tax problem
Oh.
doesn't, a federal gift tax, it doesn't come into effect until 5,000,000
Oh, my gosh.
or 500,000. So there's a gift tax exemption which is equals to the estate tax exemption. Okay?
Yeah.
One idea, and let me do it very quickly.
Yeah, because we're...
Mom is ready to go to a nursing home, and she's afraid to go to the nursing home because all the assets will be eaten up.
Oh, yeah.
So what they
correct.
do is, mom's daughter takes her to a lawyer, and the lawyer says, give the house to the child.
daughter, yeah.
First of all, the house is exempt from,
Right.
from Medicaid, to getting on Medicaid.
Oh.
Second of all, when you give the house, what's the basis of the gift? 30,000, the same idea.
Oh.
So when mom dies and they take the house and sell it, they're going to have a $470,000 capital gain.
Oh, my goodness.
But she inherits the house, it doesn't hurt her Medicaid application, and she gets the house with a step-up in basis.
Oh, boy, you really have to know everything.
Yeah, so you got to watch your P's and Q's very closely. And my suggestion is, go to someone who knows all about it.
Yes, yes. And how do you find that person? Here he is.
There I was.
Here he was, but
Yeah,
he could advise
big
you. I mean,
So
also I wanted to mention on Friday mornings you're at the senior center.
Yeah, I run a current events group at the Highland Park Senior Center.
That's another
and it's a
subject,
very lively group, as you
Very
know.
lively. A lot of retired attorneys.
Yeah, I prepare an agenda
Okay, yeah, I know.
for the week's news. And all the highlights in the week's news, I prepare an agenda for. And
So it's a class people should really go to if they want to learn things. It's
well,
very
we
interesting.
try to, and I try to lecture
Friday
on some of
mornings.
this stuff too.
It's in Highland Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In other words, we come to a situation that's a procedural thing in Congress. I tell them what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think we're just about
Okay,
running
thank
out
you
of
for
time.
inviting me.
And thank
I
you so much
appreciate
for
it.
coming.
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. I've learned quite a bit, and I hope everybody else did too.
Okay.
And you really know everything
Well, we
about
tried.
it. We try. Yeah, you try. Yeah. Yes, I thought it was state tax. It's estate. Yeah.